Hello and welcome. Today, I'm really excited to give you something that really the internet needs, and that is a Pyfa fitting tool guide. Pyfa, I like to consider the T2 fitting window. It is a third-party application program that lets you do a lot with the fitting of an EVE Online ship. And so we're going to go through basically everything there is to know about the program, from installing it to installing dark mode, and then going through basically all of the options, making a ship. Little spoiler alert is that we are going to be making a C5 Vargar because it's going to really showcase a lot of the really cool features that Pyfa has. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and get Pyfa installed. So here we are. Google.com, you know it, you love it. You're going to go ahead and search for EVE Online Pyfa, Pyfa, Python Fitting Assistant Tool. You're going to find a GitHub. You're going to go to click this GitHub. It will probably bring you to the releases page. If it doesn't, if it brings you to the home page, you can just go to the Pyfa repository. And you're going to go over to the right where it says releases. And you're going to go click on the releases. And then you can install or download any of these. Works on Linux, Mac, Windows. I already have it installed, so I'm going to skip actually installing it. But you play EVE, you know how to install things. So once you've done that, you're not done with installing things. You're going to go back to Google. And now you're going to search EVE Online Pyfa dark mode. This is completely optional, but let's be real, most of us like dark mode. So the Pyfa dark mode is actually a separate GitHub download. So you're going to go to this GitHub link. You're going to go to releases. Pretty simple stuff. And you're going to follow the directions. Looks like it is probably I believe it is a file that you replace. Or it might be an exe. Sure, let's just go ahead and download it. Find out what it is. It is a DLL and an INI. So you're going to put these in their correct spots in your Pyfa install folder. And then when you do that, you will be able to load up Pyfa, and it will look something like this. I already have some stuff on my Pyfa, so yours will be a little bit more blank, but suffice it to say, it'll look like this. All right. First things what we're going to do is go to the fittings tab. You're going to have an empty fittings tab, and you're going to be able to search for any ship that you want. Say you want to search for a Vargar. And you can see here that I have a lot of Vargar fits already, and they're all very appropriately named because I'm really good at organizing things. Trust me. But say you want to get your fits from your game. So how do we do that? We're going to go ahead and go up to the top. And you know what? Let's actually get rid of this We Hype giveaway. So we can go to the top here. And we are going to go to character, manage ESI characters. And now we're going to add your character that you want to get fits from. So you go ahead and hit add. It's going to bring up an login page where you'll log into your character. And then let's just say we want Ethel Strong's stuff. So we're going to authorize this because I'm already logged into her. We're going to authorize again. And we'll say success. You can close this and go to Pyfa. So now we have successfully fetched skills, and we will have that character in Pyfa to do a lot of really cool stuff with. So after that, we can close this. And then we are going to go to Fits, Browse, ESI Fittings. And this will, after you click Fetch Fits, will bring up all of the fits that this character has in game. So say we want to play with some of these fits. We don't want to make a completely new one. We can go ahead and import all of these to Pyfa. We could delete them from Eve if we wanted. But we're going to import to Pyfa. We might need to go one by one. Okay, it looks like we need to go one by one to import to Pyfa. But I believe after we have our ESI, if we search for... no. Okay, so there is another way. If we go to Eve, this is a not used menu often a lot, so I'm going to have a little bit of trouble finding it. You go to fitting management. Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, okay. So if you go to your Neocom, you go to ship and you go to fitting management, then there is a button to export your fits. And then you can name your file. My Pyfo once. And you can export all of your fits. It will tell you where it is exported. And then you can go to Pyfa, up to character, or fits rather, import fittings. And then you can navigate to that area and import your fittings. And then you will have all of your fittings. If you're looking for just one specific one, I like to do the browse ESI fittings because I don't want all of my fittings in Pyfa, even though maybe I should have them in. But that is how you can get your currently existing fits into Pyfa. You can also very easily just go to the fitting tool. You can copy to clipboard. And then you can go to Pyfa, Control V, and there it is. So if you also want to just do that, if you don't have the fitting saved, or if someone linked a fitting, you could easily do it that way. And then you can start playing around in Pyfa with this fit. But we are going to start from scratch. So we're going to go up to our fittings and we're going to search for Varger. And then there is an option to create a new fit. We're going to name it and we're going to call it YouTube Varger. And it made a new Varger fitting slot layout. So what do we do with this? How do we actually put modules in this Varger? Let's go ahead and make a fit. And here is my main complaint with Pyfa. To use Pyfa effectively, you only have to just know everything. You have to know every module in the game, what it does, where it goes. So honestly, a lot of times, and what I'm going to suggest for maybe our newer fitters is go into EVE Online, make your fit, make the majority of your fit in EVE Online, and then you can kind of change things up, do calculations, see the numbers better, change variations, and all that cool min-maxy kind of stuff that Pyfa really excels in Pyfa. But say you do know what everything is, you can go over here to the right. We have a browser and we can go to ship equipment and let's start filling out this Varger. So we're going to have shields. We're going to have shield boosters. We're going to have extra large. And then down here, it gives you all of your extra large shield boosters. You can also, I actually have it down in the bottom right, which you can't see because of my stupid face. There's filters. So for normal, faction, complex, or officer. So now that we have selected all of them by holding down the control key, you can see these are all of the different extra large shield boosters in the game. It tells you how much power and CPU they cost. I wish it told you some more information here, but alas, it doesn't. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with T2 stuff and maybe work our way up from there. So we're going to have an extra large shield booster. And let's try and get away with just one extra large shield booster. Again, we are trying to fit for a C5 Wormhole Vargar, which let's go ahead and talk about what are we actually fitting for. So there is a very handy dandy sheet for Wormhole stuff called Ricky's Guide, Phobiacide's version Ricky's Guide. What's the other version, the name that's not Ricky? Anyways, if you type Eve Online Wormhole spreadsheet guide, you're going to find it eventually. And it looks something like this. Grubu's, yeah. And it tells you all of the stats for all of the different wormhole sites. It's a very useful resource if you're a wormholer. And it's going to be very useful for us here. So we're not going to worry too much about it, but we are going to be trying to, we can see the DPS of these waves. So we're going to want our effective reps, which we'll learn about later, to be, higher than this DPS. We're going to want buffer to be higher than these alpha numbers. And we're going to want our guns to go into these kind of ranges. So I kind of already know what these are. So we're going to get it close to that without referencing it too much. That should be good. Let's check up on chat for a second. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to have one shield booster. Let's go for like a shield boost amp. See if that works out well. Shield hardener. Let's do like 2 multi-specs. And I've actually kind of forgotten how to build this Vargar. But let's go ahead and do that for now. And we'll see what we need to beef up here in a second. Oh, cat batteries. We need cat batteries. So if you go to engineering equipment, capacitor batteries, we want large cat batteries. You always want to go with the Republic Fleet cat batteries, basically in all situations. They're just very good modules. Again, it's kind of like you need to know what all the modules do to really make Pyfa really work for you. It's T2 fitting window. But like if you don't know the T1 stuff, then it's not going to really help you with that much. Okay, so that looks good for our mid slots. Our low slots, we can search up in this top damage control. We want a damage control 2. Sounds good. We probably want some gyros. If I start with G, we can do some T2 gyro stabilizers. And then we probably want capacitor. So this is what gets me, is that I don't inherently know which one is the low slot one, the flux coils or the rechargers. So we're just going to go with flux coils and double click them. And it looks like that was correct. And then for rig slots, again, I don't know the names of all of the rigs. So this is what really gets me in Pyfa. This is why I kind of like to make the first pass in EVE Online still. But let's just pretend that you know it. If you want to do it all in Pyfa and you don't know the name of the rigs, you can still go to large engineering rigs. You can right click all of these, go to module stats. It's going to open up a new window and it says this modification designed to increase ship capacitor capacity. So that is good there. So let's put 2 of these on. And now we need our high slots. So we are going to put on some projectiles, autocannons, large, and then we want the 800 mm repeating cannons, T2. We're going to do as many of those as we can. And then we are going to, of course, it is a marauder, so we need a bastion. So let's put it on a bastion module. And then we have 2 high slots remaining, which I am going to fill with smart bombs. So if we go to smart bombs, large, and we're going to start. This is a little. So wormhole mobs, it's also very good to know the damage types, the damage that the enemy that you're facing is going to do, and the damage that they are weak to. Wormhole mobs are omni resistant, so it doesn't matter the damage type of smart bombs. However, they recently did a lot of work on smart bombs that made them, I believe, even weirder. So we're gonna go with a large plasma 2 smart bomb and hope that works out for us. But we're gonna adjust it because we know some more information. But changing things is a future topic. Okay, so now we have a full fit. Wonderful. And we can do things with this fit. But we can know things about this fit. Also, we're not quite done. A very handy tool is that in your market browser here, the bottom options are going to be recently used items. So once you use more and more of Pyfa, you're going to be able to just have a list of things that you have recently used that are good and that you can just continue to reference. And then you're going to have charges for active fits. So these, if we had more charges, like ancillary shield boosters or cap charges or different guns, anything that takes charges, you would find it in the charges for active fits. So we know we're going to want hail. So we can go ahead and right click and we can do add charge to, we can't put it immediately on. We could drag it. There's a better way to do that though. I don't really like this. We can add charge to cargo and just add to 1,000. And then we're going to also add Republic Fleet EMP. Oh, sorry, I'm hitting buttons. Okay. So now we actually want to load our charges. So we're going to highlight all of these, and then we're going to right click these charges. And then if you right click charges, you can do hail. Hail never fails, right? And that is the only thing that takes charges. So that's the only thing we need to worry about for there right now. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about this right side panel. And I know we're kind of going at a quick clip. It's because there's just a lot that's going on. But yeah. So here in the right-hand panel, the very top, we can see characters. Right now, we are set on a character that has level 5 skills in everything. But remember, we logged into our other character, and Ethel's not going to be a good example here because she's nowhere close to a Vargur. But we're going to go with Scott. So Scott is a decently nice Vargur pilot. So he has more appropriate skills. So we're going to see more appropriate numbers here. And then we can also, if it's been a while, like if you've learned new skills, you want to refresh your skills, you can go ahead and hit refresh skills. We are getting an error because, well, we need to re-authenticate him, but we don't really need to worry about that. And then here in the top right, it says that all skill prereqs have been met. So we at least meet the minimum skill requirements for flight, for getting in this ship with all of the modules. If we switch to Ethel, this would be red, and it would tell us all of the skills that we require to just sit in the ship. So let's go ahead and go back to Scott and then move on to resources. So here, these are our turret hardpoints. We have filled 4 out of 4 turret hardpoints. We have drones, no drones active yet because we need to put those in, but we'll put them in later. And our rig calibration is 300 out of 400. And then here we see we have a problem. Red means problem, right? We have too much CPU usage right now. We are 74 CPU over, 110%. So we're going to need to fix that. And our power grid is totally fine. Our cargo bay is totally fine. And our drones, we have 50 bandwidth of drones, but right now we have no drones uses. So we're going to fix that later. Moving on to resistances. These are the resistances of your ship in shield, armor, hull. This is very similar to what you see in the actual game. The big difference here is this effective HP. So big point number one for Pyfa. EVE Online in the game does not tell you what your effective HP is. They tell you what your raw HP is, and if you want to calculate it, the difference being effective is what your raw times your resistances ends up being. But that means that you need to be being shot at with some damage profile. So let's talk about damage profiles. Right now, this incoming damage pattern, we have it set to 100% explosive damage. So someone is shooting us with Nova rockets, for example. Or you're doing exploration and the explosions are purely explosive damage, which is what I actually use it for. However, Pyfa gives you options to figure out exactly what you want. So we could hit this EHP button to toggle between effective and raw EHP. So now we can see that we have 28k raw EHP or 108 versus explosive. And then we can hit the hamburger menu to... Oh, hold on. We can hit the hamburger menu to change the incoming damage typing. So we can have it uniform if we just want uniform damage to come at us, and we could change all of these as well. And if none of these work for you, if there's some kind of particular NPC that has a new damage profile or something weird, Pyfa gives you an option to add your own. So here we go to editor up in the top. We go to damage pattern editor, and then we can make our own, and then we can save it, and then it will be there. So if we want to make a new damage profile, and let's call it YouTube damage. And YouTube damage is 22% thermal. Oh wait, this is actual numbers. So 22 damage thermal, 2 damage kinetic, and 10 damage EMP. Then we can save it. One of these buttons is save. Oh, I don't know if we even need to save it. I think it automatically saves. So now if we hit X, we can go up here, and there we go. We got YouTube damage. So YouTube damage is this damage profile. And we have 104k effective EHP against YouTube damage. So that's what we need to talk about resistances. Next, let's move on to recharge rates. So recharge rates is what your repairing is. So this top number, this top row, is going to be if you don't worry about capacitor at all, then you are going to be able to recharge 1,900 EHP a second, which is a lot. Cool. However, if we do take capacitor into effect and we want to be able to stay capacitorized, we can only rep 734 effective EHP a second. And then this number here is just your passive shield regen, and I believe it is your maximum passive shield regen. Don't quote me on that though. Because if you don't know, your shield regen maximizes its value when you are at about 30% shield. Same thing with capacitor. When you're about 30% capacitor, you are recharging the most capacitor. Next is your DPS. So with Hail Never Fail, we're doing 2,400 DPS. We have a volley of 5,600. And then this DPS final number is just your drone and your weapon combined. You can also switch it to mining yield. If you're doing some mining stuff, you can see your mining stuff. There is also a hamburger menu here where you can factor in reload time. So say you want to know your DPS with rapid light launchers, you can just click the factor in reload time, or we could do it here. And then our DPS is slightly lower. because we're using autocannons and reload is relatively short and we can fire a lot of bullets. So it doesn't really reduce it a whole lot, but like rapid lights, it would definitely reduce it a lot. And then we can also do our target resist. What are we shooting into? So because we are explosive, so say we are shooting into T1 armor. Now we're doing less DPS. I don't really mess around with this too much, but you can if you want. Next is your remote repairs. If you are a Logi, which Pyfa. So have you ever had the problem, and maybe we'll talk about this later in the video, but have you ever had the problem where you are an Osprey and you have cap modules that you're supposed to remote cap between each other, and somehow that is going to make you no longer not stable? But how do you know that in just EVE Online? You don't. There's not a way to figure it out. But with Pyfa, as we will discover later, you can actually make fits do things to other fits. So we could effectively set up our Logi chain in Pyfa and see if it actually works out with whatever skills that we want. So I think we will do that a little bit later, but just know that like that's a cool thing that you can do. So we'll talk about Logi stuff later. Next, moving on to Capacitor. So this is another really big point for Pyfa, is that it will tell you more information about your capacitor. So this is going to last 2 minutes, 45 seconds. You're minus 44 gigajoules. And if you hover over this, this is the really important part, at least for Wormhole ratting and for other parts of the game. It will tell you what your effective capacitor capacity is. So it makes a lot more sense when it's positive. So if we turn this off, we can see our effective excessive gain. That's what I'm looking for. Our effective excessive gain is 48 gigajoules a second. So if we were being nuded for, say, 50 gigajoules a second, we would still be essentially stable. And that is very important to know in Wormhole ratting. Because we are facing a lot of newts. We know the exact amount of newts that we will be facing, so we can make sure that we fit enough capacitor capacity to have enough excessive gain so that we will be able to stay stable. Moving on to targeting miscellaneous. This is just the information about your ship, how many targets you can target, what your range is, what your scan rate. All of this you get in EVE Online as well. It's just good to know. And then here is price. And the cool thing is that Pyfa prices are actually more accurate than EVE Online estimated prices because it uses actual like recent data. So here we can see that right now our ship is going to cost 1.5 billion. The fittings on that ship is going to cost 266 million. The stuff in our cargo bay is 1 million. Our implants right now, which is 0. And then the total cost out the box is going to be 1.7 billion iskis, which adds them all together. So that's the right panel. It's a lot. It gives you a lot of really good information. The most important things are like the effective EHP, your effective reps a second, and like the capacitor capacity bonuses, effective gain. All right. But as we kind of saw and talked about, we are still missing some things in our fit, like drones. So next, we're going to talk about the additions panel, which is this bottom panel here. We have drones. So we're going to search up some drones. So we know that we have 50 bandwidth of drones and 75 drone bay. So let's do let's just say I really hate everything and we're just going to go full EC 300s. So you can drag and drop, you can right click, add a drone bay. And we don't want to project drone. We'll talk about projection later. Okay. So here we have drones. We can right click them. We can split them into different groups because maybe they're bigger, maybe they're smaller. We can change. Oh, we'll talk about right click menus in a second. Don't look at those things. We can change to variations if you want. I guess we could start to talk about right click, but no, we're not going to talk about right click yet. But as you can see, there is an X right here. And we should actually talk about this. If you click the check mark, it is going to check these and it is going to make it so that they are active or like in space. So now in the top right hand corner, we see that we're using 25 megabits, and our drone bay, we still have 40 M3 in our drone bay if we want to add more drones into this fit. So maybe let's add some like warriors. Throw maybe 5 warrior 2s in there. So now we are, okay. So now we're using our warriors, which means we have drone DPS. We have about 80 drone DPS, and that will give us just a little bit more DPS. So that's how we cover drones. Next, we're going to be talking about, we're not going to be talking about fighters, but if you want to add fighters for your larger ships, for your capital carriers, you can do that here as well. We have our cargo bay. We can add miscellaneous things into our cargo bay. So as you guys see, we are clearly missing drugs. So if we go to our market browser, we can search Pyro. We can right click Pyro. I guess we can't right click Pyro. Oh wait, add implant to cargo. So we can do that if we want. And then we're missing some mine flood. Let's get some synth mine flood, add it to the cargo. And what else do we want? Drop. Let's get some drop. Add that to cargo. And then, of course, nanite repair paste. Can't leave home without your nanite repair paste. And we can add charge to cargo. Let's say 1,000, but then like, oh, we don't actually want 1,000. We can right click this and we can change selection quantity. So now we actually only want 500 paste. Oh wait, I did Republic Fleet EMP. Whoopsies. But say we only want 500 Republic Fleet EMP. We can do that like that. Right click is a very powerful tool in Pyfa. If you want to do something, try right clicking, and you can probably be surprised at what you can do. Oh, all right. Moving on to implants. So here is something that Pyfa, another really big bonus point for Pyfa, is that you can simulate implants. There's no way to do this with the in-game fitting tool. And when you start talking about bigger ships that want implants like C5 Vargers, it's very important to be able to simulate them. So we have two options here. We have use fit specific implants, or we have use character implants. If you have an implant set for your character and you like always use that implant set for that character, and you just want to easily and quickly apply it to all of your fits, you can use character implants, and you can go up to editors, implant set editor, and you can make this. Oh wait, that's going to be different. You're going to go to editors, character editor, implants, and then you can make a specific implant set for Scott Renton per se. So if we wanted raptures, we could just double click these. Okay. Then we can hit OK. And now we can see that when we have use character implants, these implants are here, and that is going to increase our capacitor by a lot because that's what raptures do. Alternatively, we can go to fit specific implants, and then here you can right click. That's right. Everyone likes to right click. And you can apply implant sets. You can also go to the menu or the market browser and drag and drop from the market browser, all that. But right clicking, I like to do a lot because generally it makes more sense. Except for like the hardwiring. You're still going to get the hardwiring implants from the market browser. So here we can apply implant set. We could use our saved sets, which is where the implant editor comes into play, where I could say, oh, a Marauder Rapture implant set. So here we have saved this implant set because we might want a Marauder Rapture implant set for different fittings, and it's just easy to access now. Alternatively, we could apply implant set, and maybe we want crystals. We want high grade crystals instead. That kept our 7 through 10, and our 1 through 6 have now changed to crystals, depending on what you want to do. But let's go ahead. I think most people are going to use crystals as opposed to Rapture because Rapture is really expensive. Don't ask me why I have a Rapture set. I've had it for a long time. So we're just going to go with the crystal set for this example. You can also right-click any of these. Say I don't want a high-grade crystal gamma. You can right-click. We're not going to talk about right-click menus yet. But sneak peek, you can right-click and say variations, and you can change it to high, low, or mid-grade. Easy peasy. So, but let's keep it on high-grade. So that is your implants, which is, huge. So now you can see what your ship simulated is with implants. You can see that we are now getting, if we actually turn on our booster again, we are now getting almost 3,000 reps a second, or 1,300 if we take our capacitor into effect. Which maybe now we're not gonna edit our ship yet. We gotta hold off. We're gonna talk about boosters for additions. So yes, we added boosters to the cargo, but no, we have not added boosters to active boosters. So you can simulate active boosters as well. This is where Pyfa is really making things happen. So if we go to our cargo, we can copy these boosters. Dark mode is a little bit weird sometimes. So we just hit Control C for copy. And it's going to be like, how do you want to copy this fit? It's going to try and copy the whole fit. But for boosters, we're good. We can just hit OK. Then you go to boosters, right click, paste boosters. It's going to paste any boosters that you have copied. So now we can see what our ship is doing when we have the Synth Mind Flood, Synth Drop, and Pyro. So we're doing more DPS. Our capacitor is even better and all that good stuff. And now, I think the additions page, these 4 tabs, maybe the best part of Pyfa. There's a lot of best parts of Pyfa, but like this is where real work gets done. The next one is projected. So what things are being projected? What is happening to this ship? Whether another ship is repairing it, or it is in a wormhole, or it's in an abyssal, things like that. So we're going to add an environmental effect. We're going to say we're in a wormhole, and we're going to say that we're in a black hole, right? And we're going to say we're in a C5 black hole. And now, whatever those black hole effects are, I guess it's going to be easier to see if we do pulsar. So say we're in a wormhole, say we're in a pulsar C5. Now we're getting even more shield buffer. And it's actually saying that we're in both of these. Because while that's not something that you could physically do in Eve, it is something that you could simulate if you really wanted to. We could also just double click to get rid of it. So that's very helpful. Also, if you wanted to, let's go ahead. We're going to open an Osprey. Just to showcase it. So here in projected, we could active currently open fit and an Osprey. So now we can see that our EHP is even more because now we can simulate that Osprey is repairing us. Do keep in mind that this is not something that can actually happen. Again, this is why Pyfa is T2. You need to know what is allowed in Eve and what is not allowed in Eve. Because we are in Bastion mode, we wouldn't actually be able to receive these reps, but say we get rid of Bastion mode, we're now getting these reps. But as an example. You can project that you are being repped, or you can project that you're in a particular abyssal environment and all that, or wormhole environment, all that cool stuff. The next tab is command. So very similar to projected, command is command chips. So here we have our command fits. So it just lists all of our fits for all of the ships that could have command burst on them. Let's just go ahead and use our C3 alligator, which is going to give us more shield boost, I believe. But we're not actually going to do that, but you could. If you're making a ship that works in a doctrine in a fleet, you can now simulate it getting a command boost to see if it could sustain whatever. So maybe you're doing like C5s in like EOSs, and you want to be able to make sure that it can sustain enough damage with those boosts. That's one use case of it. And then lastly, you can add your own personal notes. This is a fit for YouTube to do C5 wormhole content with. Hooray. All right. So now we've talked about additions. Let's talk about modifying a fit. We're making it our way through. We have discovered that we do have some problems. We have some CPU problems. We have, let's talk about what we need. Okay. So we're going to try and do a garrison. The max DPS that we need to rep is slightly over 2,000. And then the newt that we need to overcome is 72 gigajoules. So we need to have that excessive effective as positive, like 75 preferably. And our reps need to be like about 2,000. Other things that we need to know is that our distance, we should be able to shoot bullets at about 40 kilometers, maybe even up to 70 kilometers, depending. This is the range that they want to be, but if you position yourself more correctly, they'll never get there. But you know, maybe we'll see what the barrage does. We could switch to barrage ammo. This is how much scrams and webs they have, so we know that we're not really going to go anywhere. This is the frigate or battleship or whatever. This is their signature, which we'll talk about why these are important later, and we'll showcase what we can do if we know an enemy's signature and speed. It's some cool application stuff, hint, hint. But the main thing is the DPS, the alpha, and the newt. So let's make sure that we can... right now, we are way over-repping, and we are... Oh, we actually have enough excessive cap gain. So our main problem is our CPU problem. So we're going to have to get rid of a bunch of CPU. So here we can see our CPU icon. Oh, let's talk about all these things. This is how much power grid. Yeah, this is the power grid it takes. This is the CPU it takes. This is the capacitor that it takes. The ranges. I forget what this chip is. How much it cost and what it is charged with. Tracking? Yeah, this is a tracking. So this is tracking of 6.2, and this is positive. Like this gives you more tracking. So we're going to look at things that take a lot of CPU. It looks like our smart bombs take a lot of CPU. It looks like maybe our multi-spec shield hardener, our shield boost amp. But let's try and maybe another thing that as wormholers, we just know, maybe it'll show. The frigates. I don't know why this is saying 24 kilometers. The frigates like to get about 7,000 kilometers away. So this 6,000 kilometers isn't really going to work. So we're going to need something with a larger range, and we're going to need something preferably with less CPU. So now we can talk about the right-click menu. Everyone loves the right-click menu, right? So we can right click, just show the module stats. We could figure out all the module stats. We could go to its market group. So this is going to, again, show us all of the different options that we have on the market group. We could remove it if we wanted, or we could use variations. Variations is very helpful. We can very quickly change between all of the different variations of a module. So say maybe we wanted Fed Navy large smart bombs. That didn't really change much. It changed our range, but it didn't change our CPU. Again, this helps if you know everything. This didn't change our CPU, but it did change our range. So, and we're not going to really use a compact because that's going to make our range even worse. So we are going to go ahead and just switch these to Fed Navy so that we have better ranges, because that's going to be important. And we're going to have to find some more CPU somewhere else. So things like damage control or the shield boost amplifier, we don't actually need it, and it takes 55 CPU because now our reps are still 2200. And we could probably compact these, or we can compact a damage control. And then we probably want some tracking in here. So let's go ahead and add a tracking module. So if we go to ship equipment, where is it? Turret and launchers, projectile. Oh wait, weapon upgrades. Tracking computers is the mid slot. Yes, tracking computer, which didn't help her CPU problem. But now we have a tracking computer, which we can right click. We can add a charge. We could say, I want optimal range. We can see that our optimal range with hail is 5 to 42 kilometers, which is, I don't know, it's fine. We could also switch this to barrage. You just need to position yourself correctly that's going to be fine. We switch to barrage and see that we can reach out to even like 80. Let's switch back to hail. Let's compact our multi-specs. And compact our damage control. And all right, we're so close. We're only 5 points over. So here, let's talk about mutaplasmids. So let's say we want to add a little bit of bling to this fit, and we're going to apply a mutaplasmid to our gyro stabilizer. We have the options of what we could do, and we're going to say unstable. So now this is an unstable gyro stabilizer. We can right click it and we can go to module stats. And now we have a mutations tab and say, let's keep rolling on one of these. And we eventually get one that reduces the CPU by this much and has this much damage modifier. And maybe it's like bad on the rate of fire bonus. All right, cool. Why is this not? Do we have to cancel out of it? Oh, okay. But we still are 1.5 over. So let's pretend that we mutaplasmid. Oh, smart. You can mutaplasmid smart bombs now too. Let's do like an unstable Fed Navy. This module slot, and then this CPU is way better. All right, cool. So now we have fixed our CPU problem. and we are looking pretty good. Also, things that we can right click. Are we ready to talk about this in 1 second? Okay. Before we talk about that, let's talk about optimizing fit price. So there are a lot of modules in Eve that do the same thing, but maybe cost a little bit different. So if we go up to, and Pyfa can help you save money. If we go up to fit, there's this optimized fit price. Whenever you are basically finished with your fit, I don't know if it will do anything for us here because we're not really using any of like the Fed Navy stuff. Let's change this to like domination. Oh wait, compact's always going to be. Let's change this gyro stabilizer. There's not really a good answer here. Let's change this extra large to a Cal Navy. Yeah. Well, that also really. Oh, why didn't we look at this for a CPU problem? This is hugely helpful for a CPU problem. Okay, so we're gonna do Cal Navy extra large shield booster, which now we're just swimming in the CPU, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So right now our total is 2.1 billion ISK. I forgot to talk about this hamburger menu. You could go to this hamburger menu to determine what is the total price of the ship. So I like to separate my implants and boosters away from my cargo and drones. So the total total cost of the ship is going to be the ship, fitting, cargo, drones. That's what this total number is going to be. And then my implant is going to be an additional 2.2 billion ISK. But right now our ship is 2.18. If we go to fit, optimize fit prices, it is now 2.02. And it is because it changed this Fed Navy extra large shield booster into a Dread Greasta. Exact same stats, it's just cheaper. Pyfa is just saving you money. Okay. Now let's talk about skill planning or how to get the most out of your particular fit. So Pyfa has another super cool feature where you can actually change what your skills are and see how that would affect things. But another way to use this is that if you go to right click on various areas of Pyfa, you can say change module skill. So right now we have level 5 in all of the relevant skills for this character. We could go to change ship skills. We could get advanced drone avionics, which even if we don't know what this does, we could figure it out later. Or we go advanced target management. So let's go ahead and move these to level 5. And we can see how that makes a little bit of difference if we just pay attention to our numbers. And radar sensor compensation level 5. You can also do this for drones. So you can see change your drone skills. So maybe we want drone durability level 5. And now that we have changed those skills, we can go up to, what is it? Character editor. I believe it's character editor. Yes. And now we can select on the bottom right-hand corner, export skills to clipboard. So if we click this, it just works. We go to Eve. We are not on the right character, but it will still be okay. Let me just kinetic armor compensation. Okay, so if we go here, and we're going to add skills listed in the clipboard to the end of queue. This is going to attempt to add every skill that we have on this character, including the ones that we just bumped up, to this skill plan. If we were on the right character, it would only be able to succeed on those like last 3 that we actually bumped up. Because we're not on the right character, it's going to add a lot of skills to the queue. So we're just going to add skills. And then it's just going to add all of those skills that we need to get to the skills that we have in Pyfa set. And then you could also make skill plans for this. Say you are creating a Nubro doctrine or something. You could make a pretty basic like clerical fit, and you could say, you could start, if you go to Pyfa, you could say, I am a level 0 character. And then you could start increasing the skills to whatever you want. And then you can make a skill plan for it. And you can know that like these skills are going to specifically improve the usefulness of this ship. So you can get a little bit creative with your skill enhancements here. Also, I kind of regret my decision, because it keeps beeping at me. Okay. We're almost to the secret special sauce of Pyfa, the final coup d'etat of Pyfa. So hang on with us. But before we get there, let's talk about preferences. So we've talked a lot about Pyfa. There is in the global option, preferences. You can kind of go through these if you want. I don't think I'm going to go through all of these specifically, but they will help you really customize Pyfa to be your own. So like you could say color fitting by view slot, which makes, oh, actually, this also makes these colored. So because we're using dark mode, I don't think this looks very good, but it does add the actual functionality of this. So now if we like click tracking enhance, oh, let's hit OK. Now if we hit tracking enhancers, we can see very quickly that that's a low slot, or this is a mid slot, or if we even search tracking, now we can see mid slots, low slots, mid slots, low slots, rig slots, which are not colored. So that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll actually keep that. You could do separate rack, which, yeah, you guys can just see here. If you want, I like having like 7 highs, 6 mids, 6 low. I like them separated. But you can just, you can change your preferences and all that cool stuff. You can go to like network. I don't really bother with any of this. HTML, I don't bother. The ESO. Context
As
menus.
the kids say, 800mm auto cannons go brrr.
Brrr. Nice. So yeah, preferences. Maybe change them. Maybe look into them. You have the option there. All right. Now, let's talk about maybe the most confusing part of Pyfa, but can also really unlock
It was at this
your
moment that he knew. He
knowledge. And we are talking about graphs. It's so cool and important. They added a little icon to it. Graphs. Here, we could see what our damage is at what ranges. And right now, we are fighting against an ideal target. So a ship moving at 0 meters a second. It's just fucking, it's hanging out there. It's infinitely large. It's just doing nothing. This is a perfect scenario. But what if you're not in a perfect scenario? What if you're fighting a wormhole rat? Well, what you can do, we should probably talk about before we do this. Or actually, let's talk about PvP. People like PvP. You can add a currently open fit. So let's say we're trying to shoot at this Synesis called Movin' and Groovin'. As we can see here, we have a lot less DPS. Because right now we can see that we are stationary because we're in Bastion mode, right? But the target is going 100% of their speed directly 90 degrees. So perfectly tracking is maximum. But we can click anywhere on this and we could say, oh, it's actually only going 16% its max speed and it's going almost directly at us. And now we can see this is where our damage is. So like if we are really close to it, it's going to out-track us even when it's like going basically right towards us. But as it gets further away, it's going really basically towards us. So we are going to be able to apply our maximum damage here. But maybe it's going like 45 degrees because it's trying to spiral into us, and it's going 100% of its max speed. And now we can see that our application really kind of sucks. And why do we see these like weird drop off and notches here? That's because these are our smart bomb ranges and our drone ranges. So if we like turn off our drones and if we turn off our smart bombs, we can see this line start to smooth out. So if you want to really utilize this, it could be very good. You could really get a good idea about like what your proper ranges are and where your fall offs are really starting to hurt you a lot against whatever target that you want. There are also a number of graphs. Admittedly, a lot of these I haven't really found any good use for, but the damage stats, this is probably the most important one. You can change your y-axis. So like if you want to talk about volleys, you can figure out like how much damage you're going to be doing in a volley. Maybe you're a tornado pilot and you're trying to figure out how easy it is for you to kill innocent little frigates that maybe have Plex in their cargo. You could do that. You can also do like damage inflicted. This is going to be over time. You could fill in a time slot, say like over 60 seconds. And now you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do 5,400 damage in 100 seconds versus this. Oh, wait, versus the ideal target versus the Synesis. We can figure out like how much EHP it has. And we could say it's going like 45 and then like say we're at 20 kilometers. So if we can somehow stay at 20 kilometers while it's still like it's going 45 degrees around us, we could do like 22,000 damage. And it's like, is that enough to kill it? I don't know. So like here you could really do a whole lot of really good analytical stuff. That's what the graphs are for. But say we don't have a fit for the ship because it's like an NPC ship. It's a wormhole ship. We could right click this. We could add a target profile. We could have any of these standard target profiles, or as you can see, I have sleeper battleship, sleeper cruiser, or emergent defender, sleeper frigate. So I could see like how much damage can I do versus against a sleeper frigate. What's my DPS against a sleeper frigate that is like 20 kilometers? Not a whole lot, right? But if we turn on our smart bombs, now we're doing some damage when it's really close, and they do like to really get close to us, up to like that 9,000 kilometers, because that's the range of our smart bomb. And how do I get this? That's a great question. So here you're going to go to your editor, and the last editor that we're interested in is target profile editor. So if I go to this wormhole guide, I could see like this is their signature. This is the speed that they like to go. And we can kind of just enter these values in. So we can see whatever their speed is, whatever their signature radius is. And then this is going to be their resistances, which is just going to be omni resistances, which is 60% omni resistances. So we can figure out how much damage we can do against them. And that, wait, we're not done. Let's talk about one more thing. Let's talk about ospreys. We already kind of covered this. But so here we have an osprey, and here we have projected. So we have projected an osprey is repping this osprey, and this we're in a C5 pulsar effect. So here we can see that our capacitor is -3, so we're going to last for 3 minutes running all this stuff, which is not great. So if we turn off our micro warp drive, but if we turn off this osprey, we can see that we are going to last 24 seconds. And we turn off our micro warp drive, and we have the other osprey. We're going to be stable, 51% stable. Hooray! And we could even take an amount of newts, which is our effective, which I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, because we don't have any E-war resistance. We don't have any cat batteries, which means we don't have any E-war resistance. So whatever our capacitor is, plus 8 gigajoules a second is how much newt we could take. And yeah, okay. That's it. That's Pyfa. Hopefully you've learned a lot. Hopefully you feel a little bit better about making your own fits and figuring out all of the really good information that you need. This was a lot. This was a doozy. I know Pyfa is complex, but hopefully I did a little bit of justice. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to watch another video that's going to be useful, watch this one. And if you have already watched that one, then YouTube thinks that whatever this video is going to be helpful. So until next time, see you later. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.